Imagine Caitlin joining this team and spending time on the bench. What is the conversation going to be about the entire time the Olympics is going on? Why isn't Caitlin getting more minutes? Why isn't Caitlin playing? I'm sure people will tune in, but what will the conversation be then?
You know why we didn't do a better job of promoting the WNBA? Because the numbers, the eyeballs, the interest, the sizzle, the headlines were not there. No one cared. The public didn't care. And now you have somebody that has the world caring, and you say to her, well, you know what? We want to make purely basketball decisions. It's the right thing to do, and we got to be worried about how other people are going to feel. But you're still complaining about the max salary being $250,000. You're still complaining about the absence of eyeballs. You're still complaining about the lack of headlines and notoriety and pub and cachet. You're complaining about all of these things. And the one person who has proven they can alleviate that concern, that could ultimately serve to benefit the better whole, now we want to sit up there and get all altruistic and stuff and talking about, hey, it's about the sanctity of the game and the level of competition. You're going to win by 30 without her, just like you'd win by 30 with her. It don't make a difference. You make the call because of the betterment of the whole in the end. That is not compromising your integrity. That is business. And y'all are going to find that out.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Once again, we got to talk about the WNBA and Caitlin Clark, okay? Because Stephen A. Smith dropped an epic rant against these WNBA analyst women on First Take who were, unsurprisingly, defending the indefensible, which was the decision to leave Caitlin Clark off of the Olympic team. And I believe that that decision was indefensible for multiple reasons. One, she definitely earned a spot, okay? No doubt, okay? If anything, Brittney Griner should be pulled off the team, okay? Brittney Griner should not be representing the USA because she didn't want to stand for the national anthem, right? She wanted to protest the anthem because she's an oppressed lesbian black woman, right? That's what she wanted to do. She also decided to go to Russia with contraband in her bag and ended up getting arrested, being held as a prisoner, to the point where we had to exchange the merchant of death for her while leaving behind a Marine. Okay, I think this country has done a lot more for Brittney Griner than Brittney Griner has done for this country. So I'm not sure if Brittney Griner should be representing the USA on the international stage. Okay, so I'm just saying, if you go pull anybody off, pull off Brittney Griner. That's the easy choice. But again, outside of just basketball, because if you look at it from a basketball perspective, I definitely think that Caitlin Clark deserves to be on the team, right? She's most certainly earned it. Marketing, right? Business, okay? Business is a part of the reason why Caitlin Clark should be on the team, because that would help the WNBA with viewership. But the WNBA, they continue to remind us on a daily basis that they don't actually really want the things that they've been begging for the past 20 or 30 years, which is fame, money, media attention, fans to show up to games, okay, people to buy paraphernalia, right? All of these things the WNBA is getting because of Caitlin Clark, but yet they're rejecting it. They don't like it. They're trying to sabotage it because of the fact that Caitlin Clark is a straight white woman, and they would much rather have the fame and glory and money come from a black lesbian woman being a superstar of the league instead, right? That is essentially the issue. And we know this because they've told us out loud that this is the issue, right? This is what we don't like. We're jealous of this woman for multiple reasons, right? This is what they said. So again, not only do they remind us that, hey, they don't really want the things that they've been asking for, but they also remind us that one of the reasons why nobody paid attention to the WNBA before Caitlin Clark is that a vast majority of the women in this league are absolutely insufferable.
Khalil, this looks like the bench production. You didn't get a lot of it in this game here. Talk about what they need to do going forward.
You said what?
The bench. Not score a lot in this game here, give you a lot of production. What do you have to do next in the next few games to help you guys most likely get to the next level?
What does the bench have to do?
Yes.
What did you?
I was saying that the bench didn't give a lot of production today in this game here. What do they got to do to help you all out as what they did in the previous game?
What they got to do? What they do last game? That's a real question? You for real?
No, what I'm asking is just really trying to get an idea of what they need to do.
So what the bench do the last game?
They actually played well. They played well.
So what they do this game?
Today they didn't do well this game.
Okay, so what they got to do? Score, right?
Yep.
All right, bet. That's it, right? Yep. That's the main question.
And that, my friends, is why the WNBA has been a welfare league for most of its existence, okay? Because the players are absolutely insufferable. They're ratchet. They really don't know how to act when it comes to dealing with the media. They're not ready for the spotlight, right? They're just not, okay? They're simply not. So I guess maybe you can look at it from a certain perspective that maybe, just maybe, them sabotaging the league is a good thing because that's honestly what they deserve, right? They're not ready to be big time, right? So maybe that's it, okay? But a lot of men are trying to warn these women that, hey, if you continue to go down this path of hating Caitlin Clark, of purposely snubbing her from the Olympic team because you're jealous, you're worried about, I don't know, what the fans are going to say if Caitlin Clark is on the bench, which, again, is completely overblown, right? I mean, I think that you're going to be better off with Caitlin Clark being on the team and having the fans actually watch the game and watch other players and, you know, have her play her fair share of minutes. You're probably going to be better off under that scenario than not having her on the team at all. But again, this is what they're arguing. This is the excuses that they're coming up with. Well, it's the fans' fault, right? It's the fans' fault. We're scared of how the fans are going to react. It's just not going to be a good look for her to be sitting on the bench. They're going to get mad and upset. No. What they're actually really trying to avoid is the Olympics being all about Caitlin Clark, right? They don't like the fact that she's more popular than them, and nobody will give a damn about them, right, if Caitlin Clark was on the team for the Olympics, right? So, again, that's what this is all about. But the men who are thinking logically, not emotionally about this, are telling these women, you're thinking about this the wrong way. You are sacrificing the opportunity of a lifetime because of your ego, right? And you're going to end up regretting it. And that's essentially what Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith are going to tell these two WNBA women analysts on First Take. And I think this rant from Stephen A. Smith, for as much as I'm not really a fan of his politics, okay, he definitely had a pretty good rant here, and he's definitely speaking a lot of good sense here when it comes to trying to tell these women why they're wrong for defending Caitlin Clark being snubbed from the Olympic team. So without further ado, let's get into it.
It's not that you're wrong. It's that we don't care. Everything y'all said does not matter for this particular instance. We don't want to hear anything about Team USA. We know they won 7 straight goals. Put Andrea and Shanae up on this screen. I want to look at them this whole segment when I'm talking to them. You just highlighted 7 straight gold medals. Oh my God. We're really worried that they're not going to get an 8th. Oh, we really worried. I mean, we got to make sure that spots 1 through 12, every single spot that is picked. I mean, it's got to be, because it's pivotal, Shannon. I don't know if you noticed, Shannon, it's pivotal. I mean, they won 7 straight. They might not get 8. They might not get 8. Stop it. You know good and damn well, with or without Caitlin Clark, they're going to probably win the gold again. That's not what this conversation is about. This is about what I will personally label the idiocy of Team USA women's basketball. How dare you make this decision? It's stupid. And I'm going to tell you why it's stupid. I want all the ladies on this squad to know every single one of y'all are deserving of it.
Except Brittney Griner, right? Except Brittney Griner. Brittney Griner is not deserving of it. She only played 1 game this year, okay, or 2 as of the making of this video, I believe. But regardless, she is not deserving. Nobody can convince me any differently that Brittney Griner, considering what she was doing just a few years ago, okay, protesting the national anthem, and then that little stunt she pulled going to Russia, and we had to give up the Merchant of Death. We had to leave behind a Marine for her. You cannot convince me that she deserves to be on that roster representing this country. I'm just saying. I just think that if you're going to pull somebody off, it has to be Brittney Griner.
Caitlin Clark does not deserve a spot ahead of any of the players on this roster, okay? If we're talking just basketball, You know we're not.
Now, this is a part of Stephen A's rant that I really don't agree with, okay? Because they're trying to make it seem like, based solely off of merit, that Caitlin Clark is not deserving. And that's not true. I think that she definitely has earned it from a merit perspective. I mean, she's the all-time leading scorer in women's basketball history. She went to back-to-back national championships, even though she lost. That was part of the reason why she couldn't even participate in the Olympic practices, is because she was too busy trying to win championships in college, right? So, part of the reason why she's being held back from the team, when you talk about team chemistry and practicing with other players, well, it wasn't really her fault, right? I mean, she was trying to win a national championship in college. But again, a part of merit as well, too, is not just play, because if you look at her stats are just as good, if not better, than some other players on that team, like, for example, Diana Taurasi, right? Who's like 41 years old, okay? Caitlin Clark's stats are just as good, if not better than hers, okay? So again, when you talk about merit, she most certainly has earned it from a merit perspective. And people got to be careful when they're making these arguments, because when they start saying that, well, from a basketball perspective, I can't pull anybody else off of that team, it makes it sound like Caitlin Clark has not earned it from a merit perspective, or is not good enough to be on the team, which is just not true, right? It's not true at all. The only thing that's holding Caitlin Clark back from essentially dominating this league is experience. That's it, right? Because from a skills perspective, she's probably already better than most of the players on that Olympic roster. It's just she needs more experience in the league, okay? But she has experience playing overseas. That's not something new to her. She definitely has earned a spot with her play, strictly from a merit perspective. But if you also include her ability to get fans out to games, to get attention, and to grow the WNBA as well too, right? To make people actually care about the women's basketball team playing in the Olympics, then yeah, she most certainly has earned a spot, right? You got to pull somebody off, right? I'm just keeping it 100. Somebody got to go, because America, for the most part, doesn't give a damn about most of you. A vast majority of you, that's just the truth. If you actually want to grow the game, if you want all the things that you claim that you want, somebody needs to sacrifice their spot for Caitlin Clark, okay? And again, it's not because she didn't earn it, okay? It's because she brings more to the table overall, okay, than a vast majority of those players on that roster. That's just the truth. She's already the league's literal MVP. And what I mean by MVP, I mean the actual definition of MVP, most valuable player. There's not one player in the WNBA more valuable than Caitlin Clark right now, and that has showed up when you look at the attendance stats, when you look at the jersey sales, okay, when you look at the endorsements. There's not anybody more valuable to that league than Caitlin Clark. You cannot leave the little MVP of the league off of the Olympic roster. It's a terrible business decision, right? That's just what it is. But again, they've made terrible business decisions from the beginning of all this, right? When all this really started to pop off, it came from a terrible business decision made by Chennedy Carter, okay, who's also a ratchet WNBA player, cheap shotting Caitlin Clark, which again was a bad business decision.
You know we're not. Let's harken back to the Dream Team in 1992. Remember when Christian Laettner was on that squad? Forget the other pro play. Forget the pro players. Forget the pro players. That's a given. First time NBA players were allowed to participate. Don't put that damn screen up when I'm talking right now. I want to see Shanae and Andrea, okay? The point is this. Those rosters, right? Those players were on there. Do you know that Christian Laettner also was chosen ahead of Shaquille O'Neal and Alonzo Mourning? You know why? He was a two-time national champion. He was a Wooden Award winner. And he was white. And he had his own cachet. He brought it to the table. He was a big-time collegiate player who was white and busting people's you-know-what. They couldn't miss. And they didn't need him. You had Jordan. You had Magic. You had everybody. And you still picked that dude. Why? It wasn't because of basketball, even though he had the basketball credentials. It was because of something else. And they didn't need the pub. But the WNBA does. You got a max salary at $250,000. You had attendance, although it was trending in the right direction, certainly wasn't where you wanted it to be. And as Shannon pointed out just the other day, you got a team in the Indiana Fever with their struggling selves, struggling to win a damn game and be relevant. No team in the WNBA was worse other than the winless Washington Mystics, okay? And they went from 4,000 in attendance to 17,000. This girl is box office. I said a rising tide lifts all boats. What you do, especially if you're Team USA and you're trying to be globalized, it is an opportunity to globalize the WNBA brand. So people like Brittney Griner, you know, God bless her soul, and others don't have to go to Russia in the off season to play additional basketball to get extra income. They could stay right here if the sport elevates its popularity and you ladies start getting what you richly deserve.
Well, again, I would take issue with this idea that they deserve it, right? They deserve whatever they're getting right now, okay? What they were getting before is what they deserved because the market dictated that, hey, this sport is not that popular. But again, every chance they get, they show us why it wasn't that popular before Caitlin Clark, why it wasn't marketable. It's because, again, these players are insufferable, right? And again, some of them are just downright delusional, okay? Notice how you have all the men, okay, the logically thinking men, okay, who understand the bigger business picture, okay, the future of the WNBA, who actually want the best for these women. They're coming at it from a rational business perspective saying, listen, you got to put your emotions aside, and she should have been on the team, right? You are fumbling a bag here, okay? You fumbled a bag when you cheap shotted her. Now you're fumbling another bag by snubbing her from the Olympic team for petty reasons, okay? You're really fumbling the bag here. The women don't want to listen. They take it emotionally, right? Trying to talk about how, oh, well, I don't know what the fans might say, right? About Caitlin Clark riding the bench, right? Caitlin Clark riding the bench might be controversial to the fans, okay? They worried about getting backlash from the fans. And it's like, well, you're going to get more backlash from the fans for excluding her. And then on top of that, these same fans are definitely not going to watch Team USA because of this. So now, congratulations, nobody's going to be watching you, at least not in the United States. Now, maybe overseas, you'll get an international audience, and that's all fine and good, but they're not the ones that are paying you, right? You don't get paid in the United States based off your international audience or fans, which I'm pretty sure internationally, nobody really cares about WNBA either, okay? But I guess, again, my point is that notice how all of the women are coming at this from an emotional perspective, and all of the men are coming at this from a more logical, rational, and business-oriented perspective. And I think it is fascinating to see the difference, right? To see the difference between opinions based off gender lines, right? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.